Welcome, Body Size Fitness, Pilates with a small ball, and I am Karren Meggitt. I've been teaching for over 20 years, and I now teach Pilates and HIIT classes in Warwickshire. So my participants have been doing this class recently. It's about 45 minutes long. Use it, make it shorter or longer as you wish. Enjoy! So standing up with a small ball behind the back of the head, and if you're doing this yourself or teaching it in class, just make sure people are putting it around the back of the head and not the neck. So you want the ball to travel. So just doing some neck flexion and slight extension as well. So just pressing into the ball. It doesn't, it might move around a bit, but you do get the feeling that it's supported, and just getting a little bit of movement through the top part of the neck there. So I'm standing the ball distance away from the wall, drawing the abdominal muscles in, and shoulder blades back and down. So now I'm just doing a little rotation, a little left and right. So again, trying to keep the body still and really concentrating on the neck rather than the shoulders moving. So now I'm just doing what I call a little bit of a smiley face. So I'm rotating right, circling down towards the chest, looking up to the left and then back to centre, and then just reversing it. So going left, circling down to the right and then back to centre. I sometimes finish the class with that movement as well, and that's a nice way to finish a class, standing with the ball behind the head. So now I'm placing the ball in between the shoulder blades and just going for some protraction, retraction. So feeling the shoulder blades almost squeeze and push into the ball, and you can feel your shoulder blades press against the ball. It gives you really good feedback. Arms are staying in two tubes, they're just going forward and back. So just got to watch the posture here a little bit. I could do with tucking under slightly. It does look like I'm quite lordotic in this position. Or maybe I'm leaning against the wall. Anyway, it's always when you watch these things back you realise how different your posture is. So just concentrating on that shoulder shrug or shoulders pulling backwards. And I'm just going to go into scissors. So arms just going by the midline. I'm not taking them any further back. And again, you can feel your shoulder blade on the ball doing the scissors as well. And from here I'm just going to go into a rotation, so holding onto the forearms, shoulder blades back and down, and then just allowing that twist to go all the way down through the legs, and just pushing into that ball and just going side to side. I'm actually doing a voiceover on this video, as you can tell, because I'm not talking in the video, because I feel like you lose sound quality. So if it sounds like I'm having a drink, it is because I'm having a coffee. So apologies for this. So now I'm going to just do a little flexion through the mid upper back. So I cue this by tucking the chin in, looking down to the chest, pressing into the ball, and then I usually stop when either the ball feels like it's going to pop out or my bum touches the wall. And then you're pushing into the ball then to bring it back up. And that gives you a really nice kind of feedback around the mid upper back section. I mean, the flexion is going a little bit lower down as well, but it kind of isolates the top half. And I'm just kind of stacking my spine, block by block, drawing the abdominal muscles in to support, and again making sure they're drawn in as a roll back up, and then looking straight ahead. From here then I'm just going to do a little side to side reach. So a little lateral flexion going from side to side. Legs are staying still. Movement then from above the hip, reaching over and then pulling in and bringing it back to centre. I really like to feel like the abdominals are working in this movement. I think there's a tractor outside, which is, you might hear that as well in this video. Okay, now I'm putting the ball in the lower back and I'm stepping away from the wall. Now you've just got to be careful. The mats I'm using here are really good. They're super sticky. They're not going to go anywhere. So I always give people the option of keeping their shoes on, or to make sure if the mat it will move, then to have feet flat on the floor with either trainers or no shoes. So now I'm just going for more of a bigger forward fold or flexion, letting the arms hang loose. And again, I'm stopping when I feel like that ball is going to pop out or my bum touches the wall. And again, just stacking that spine up, lengthening up through the crown of the head and looking forwards. So chin tucking in, rolling down, lengthening through the spine, and then drawing the abdominal muscles in to bring it back up to centre. One thing I will say as well is I do tie my hair back in a moment, but I couldn't tie my hair up when the ball was around the back of the head. So you just need to watch people in class. Okay, so now I'm just going into a good squat. So I always say as well, this is a nice massage for your spine. So my participants groan slightly on this because they know it's a complete lie. Well, it is a massage, but it's more, it's the squat you're really looking for. So just going straight down, straight up, looking for that 90-degree bend, legs hip width apart. And then I'm making it more challenging now by reaching the arms out in front. Obviously, you don't have to do that. But it's a great way to see how you squat. If there's any issues around the knees, always keeping the knees in line with the feet. So now I'm challenging again here by lifting the heel up as I go down and up. So it just adds a little bit of shift. You've got to use your balance a bit more. And then I'm doing double heels at the bottom. So right leg, left leg, and then both heels lifting. And you could add on some pulses or anything. So now I'm doing heels together, toes turned out, and the same squat here. Some people did complain, I think that, they've got knee issues, this wasn't very comfortable, so I told them not to do it. But actually it's a really good way of getting the inner thighs and the glutes to fire. So you're just going straight down, straight up. Or maybe you could play around with not having the heels completely close together. But the knees are tracking, still tracking towards the feet. Going down and up, nice straight line. Good. From there then I'm going to lie down, put my feet on the wall. Excuse me while I tie my hair back. There we are. So feet on the wall and a 90-degree bend. Legs hip width apart, hip bone, pubic bone level, hands just resting down by the side. So just starting off, I'm just going for a little pelvic tilt. So I'm inhaling, and as I exhale, I'm drawing the abdominal muscles in and then lengthening back out. So you can see me pulling in there, trying not to use the glute muscles, and then lengthening back out into neutral. So the ribs are going down and in. Hips are curling up. Now on this one I start to go into a higher lift up through the spine. So I'm going to pull into my pelvic tilt and slowly start to roll just a few inches up off the floor and then rolling back down again. Now no one in class complained of this being uncomfortable, so I'd hope that you would find it okay, or your participants. Some people did start to travel as if they'd start to go backwards. So I was telling them to push into their feet into the wall, but if they started to move back too much, I found it was because they were pushing into their feet too much and not using their glutes. So it's a really good way to get those glutes to fire because you're rolling straight up and down through the spine. You stop around the thoracic kind of area anyway, so you're not going up into the neck. I mean, you can just see my head there. There's no movement through the neck. So I'm pushing into the wall, gently squeezing the glutes and rolling up and down. Great way to get a spinal articulation. You can really feel your spine coming down section, block by block, vertebrae by vertebrae as you roll down through the spine. But I was always cueing if people find it uncomfortable, then just to put the feet on the floor. So now it's a slight advancement here. I'm taking the leg off and rolling up and down. And this is a good way to see how you fire from one side to the other. Are you equal? Are the hips staying high and level? I should also say then I wasn't really looking for height with my participants. I was looking that they could keep their hips level. So how high they came up was up to them. So now here we're just doing a leg extension, tap to the wall, back up. Tap and back up. And again, it's just to make sure you can stay up and level against the movement of the leg. Lengthening, reaching away. And last one, and then rolling down. Then I do the same thing on the other side. Now when I was videoing this, I did sort of 6 to 8 reps. But obviously you can add on more or you can take away as well. The video lasts about 45 minutes. Which if you add on a few of your own moves would make an hour class. So there we go, leg tapping towards the wall and reaching back out again. And then I'm rolling straight down. So you could maybe add on some pulses as well. There as well. So now I'm just going for a side bend stretch. So I'm hooking my feet in towards the wall, holding onto my ankle or my shin, and then just reaching and stretching over, and then lengthening back out again. Just watch that your arm is staying close by the ear, it's not pulling forwards. I'll do it on the other side anyway, you will see. And just stretching, and then I'm just holding here and trying to get the whole hand and really lengthening out through the hip, all the way up through the arm, through the fingers. Now this is a really good little posture check. So your bum and back right up against the wall, and then just lift your arms up at 90 degrees. And that should be comfortable. I found a lot of people, if they've had shoulder issues, couldn't do that move very well, or if they were quite sedentary in their lifestyle or work style. So hooking on and then just reaching over, tapping the wall and lengthening back out again. So reaching up and out through the hip, all the way down through the side of the body, out through the fingertips. And just holding it there. Good, now there's going to be a seamless transition. There we go. To on the floor. So now that was my warm-up, this is more the workout. So I've got the ball in between my ankles, legs at 90 degrees. Obviously you can work up to this, but I've just gone straight into it. Hands behind the head to support, and then I'm just doing a little ab curl. So maybe you could start off with feet on the floor and just doing a little ab prep. You don't necessarily have to have the ball there, but it'll make sense in a minute when we add on. So in a moment I'm going to stay up and hold, and then I'm just going to extend the legs out. So I'm keeping my back in neutral or with a slight imprint. Just watching the back isn't arching off the floor or the ribs are popping up and out. Now I find this really challenging for me. Some people can go really low with their legs, but I stay up fairly high. You've just got to watch your back doesn't arch, and then I'm going to hold it out, and then you can't really see it, but I'm pulsing and squeezing that ball, and then rolling down. Now you could maybe add on the 100 there. Okay, taking that ball away and placing it under the bum or in the sacrum. Just making sure you're elevated and not curved over the ball. Then legs going up at 90 degrees. Now this is one of my favourite moves in class. So I'm staying at that 90 degree position and I'm gently toe tapping one foot at a time towards the floor. So shoulders are relaxed. I'm lengthening out from the hip, trying to keep the leg in the same shape. Now people tend to do this quite fast, and I always cue to do it much slower. Try and stay as still as you can against the movement of the leg. And then now to challenge, I've taken the arms up in the air, and I'm using my arms as little stabilizers. Now you could use weights with this as well in your hands. And I'm adding on again a little bit more of a higher level. So as I toe tap down, both arms are going overhead. So I'm opening out, and then I cue to kind of pull in and bring those joints back in. So I'm opening out and then closing the joints down. Now again, I was doing this with quite light weights in class, 1 kilo or 2 kilo weights. And again, I was cueing to do it really slowly. And I find that's when you found the best benefit, or you really connected with your abdominal muscles. If you do it too fast, there's momentum and everything kind of falls apart. So staying nice and balanced on that ball, and it just adds an extra element. I mean, you can do it without the ball, but I actually find that's harder. I prefer the ball there. Okay, so now I'm placing the ball either in between the knees, which is easier, or underneath the feet, which is harder. So now we're just going to do a little shoulder bridge glute squeeze. So feet on the ball, heels angled down, toes up, and legs together. And just squeezing up and down, making sure the glutes are the first to fire. And again, you can do this feet on the floor or the ball in between the knees. And I'm holding up, just releasing halfway and then pushing up, halfway down, all the way up. And again, in class, I would watch that people weren't arching through the spine, and from knees, hips to shoulders is a long line when you're up. Nice strong squeeze. And then holding up and just doing little pulses. And that's a really good one for the glutes. Rolling down. And then lying on the side with the ball underneath the bottom leg. So legs are straight, ball underneath the bottom leg, ankle area, bottom arm under the head, and then the top arm can be up or down. Up obviously harder, hand down in front to support. So now I'm just doing a leg lift with the toes, push into the heel and lower the leg down. So I'm watching that the lower leg is staying nice and straight. And there's hardly any movement anywhere else. And really, I should be looking straight ahead at this point. My face looks angled up. Now slowly circling the leg around. I would do 6 to 8 each way. So I'm slowly squeezing back more than I'm coming forwards as well. So trying to use the glutes rather than the hip flexors in front. Good, now I'm slowly changing direction. And again, apologies, your eye gaze should be straight ahead. I don't know why I'm looking up. But I look like I am looking at the camera anyway. The things you notice. And then you're just doing a little pulse here. And then lowering it down. Now, knee in front, straighten the leg out, squeeze the leg back. So bend the knee, bring the knee in front, extend the leg out and squeeze it back. So again, really good, strong glute squeeze, connect with the glutes. Knee, extend and press the leg back, almost like you're scraping it back. I'm just going to do 4 and then reverse it. So the leg comes up in front, try and keep it straight, bend the knee and then press through the heel to push and extend the leg back. So we're going in front, bend and press. That's it. Good, one more time. And press. Then I'm going to put the ball in between the ankles. And then using the QL muscle on the side, lifting both legs up and down. So hand down in front, try not to use it too much to push up. Just feel the muscles fire as you lift both legs up and down, drawing the abdominal muscles in before you lift. Harder arm would be up in the air. And it's great to see what difference people have on side to side when you're doing this move. Going a bit wobbly there. Okay. Now I'm going to go for a full roll up and down. So legs bent or straight, using the ball, checking you're not going into any extension through the spine when the arms are back. Rolling up through the spine, place the ball on the legs. Use your legs as a guide to sit up nice and tall, stack the spine. Arms come up and then tuck your bum underneath, pull the abdominal muscles in tight and roll down as gently as you can. So arms over, arms start to move, tuck the chin in, concertina up through the ribs. Slowly does it, try and keep the legs on the floor, reaching all the way over. Think of a spine stretch forwards and then rolling up, stack the spine, sit up nice and tall, reach the arms out, tuck the bum underneath, cue, pull the abdominal muscles in, watch the legs, slowly through the lumbar area if you're quite lordotic. And my legs do a little lift there, which I've never noticed before. Yep, that wasn't a good one. So full roll-ups are usually very challenging in class. I actually give people who struggle quite heavy weights to do it, which helps. Or sometimes use a band to either pull the person up or that they wrap around, that was a really bad one, or they wrap around the feet. Okay, from here, I'm putting the ball in between the knees, sitting up nice and tall, and then just going for a little half roll back, arms coming down and then lifting up, stretching up in front. So tuck the bum underneath, lower the arms down, and then lift and lengthen. Now on this one, I was kind of cueing to open out through the collarbones as you came up, draw the shoulder blades together and really kind of open and fan out through the shoulders. I mean, some people, if they've got sticky shoulders, then I would keep their arms a bit lower down. But that's actually looking quite lovely. So tucking the bum under, really scooping out through the abs. And then holding it up and just doing a little pulse there. And again, using the shoulder blades kind of drawing together. Good. From here, prone, arms out in a W shape, just starting off with a little breaststroke. So park the nose on the floor, shoulder blades back and down, and then just lifting up through the mid-upper back. So I always kind of think about moving from the bra strap upwards, keeping the ribs on the floor. I love these exercises. You see so many people with really bad postures in class. So now breaststroke 2, so drawing the shoulder blades together, turning the palms in towards the thighs, shoulder blades come together and really lengthening up and out through the crown of the head. So there, I would do a few more of those, obviously. But now I'm showing you a different option. So the ball can go underneath the chest. Then it kind of sits on the on your just underneath the breast, I would say, rather than in between the breast, because that can be really uncomfortable. And just lifting and lengthening up. So you're still doing breaststroke 1. The only person I found this really uncomfortable had a mastectomy, so we just did the same exercise lying on the floor. But it just gives you a little bit more flexion and a supported flexion as well. So now we're going to breaststroke 2, and again, same move. You curl over the ball, draw the shoulder blades together, and then just lift in a long line. Good, so this kind of switches off the lumbar back, lumbar area. So really concentrating on the thoracic. Lengthening out and then shoulder blades come together and then lifting up. So I think shoulder to shoulder, nice and flat. Good. And actually then when you take that ball away, it feels lovely to lie flat down. So I might just stay there for a few seconds and have a little stretch. Okay, now I'm going for a full extension. So the arms are out in front, on top of the ball. Legs are wide, heels turned in. Push down on the ball, shoulder blades together, and then lift and lengthen up. A little pause at the top, and then rolling down. So when you go up and down as well, I always cue to squeeze through your bum. You'll just get a little bit more stretch through the front of the hips. And if you want to come up higher, then your hands or your arms start further away on that ball. And you're just going straight up and down. Now I do find that people bend their elbows on this one, but I always catch them out and tell them to do arms straight. So I'm bringing legs together, arms out in front, and just doing little swimming kicks. So top half staying still, press down on the ball, and you really feel it then working around the shoulders. Legs are together, kick, 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 kick. So short, sharp, little kicks, pulling up on the knees. So my knees are off the floor, which you can't really see there. But there we go, and then I do a little hold and then lower it down. Okay, so now I'm going into a smaller back extension with a rotation. So I'm rolling up and then reaching the arm away and down towards the hip, and I'm looking towards it, back out in front, and then lower it down. So the arm that's staying on the ball stays nice and still, stays straight, and then a really cue to draw down through the shoulders, getting those lats to work. So pressing, extension, rotation, lowering it down. Okay, from here I'm doing a opposite arm and leg movement. So my left hand is resting on the ball out in front. My head is resting on my right wrist. So I'm keeping my head in line with my spine. And then I'm just lifting up my right leg. So it's opposites. It's left arm, right leg. And what you want to check is that your left shoulder isn't moving. If it feels uncomfortable, then you can put both hands under your forehead. So now I'm holding onto the ball and then I'm lifting arm and leg together. So not looking for height, looking to keep stability through the rest of the body against the movement. Any sort of issues with shoulders, then I would sometimes cue to bring the arm in, drop the ball, but really you should be able to lift opposite arm and leg quite comfortably unless there's some shoulder issues. Okay, now I'm swapping over so you can see on this side. So I've got my left hand wrist under my forehead to support, my right hand on top of the ball, pressing down, and I'm lifting my left leg. So hips are staying balanced. And if you can hear something in the background tinkling away, that's my dog walking around with his dog collar. I think he's off for a snooze now though. Yes, that's my Benji. And now I'm picking the ball up and lifting arm and leg at the same time. So top half is staying nice and still. I'm just looking for that diagonal connection from shoulder to hip. And again, you can drop the ball if it's uncomfortable. Or if you've got a stronger class, maybe add on a weight. Okay, from there, I've crossed the ankles over. So I can squeeze my glutes as I lift up and down. Now that wall is in the way, but I've persevered because I just shoot in one block. And I didn't want to move. So I'm passing the ball round the back and then reaching it out in front. Passing it back, other hand reaching out in front. So rather than crossing out in front, I'm crossing behind, which is easier. If you try and cross out in front, it'd be quite challenging for your lower back. So I've squeezed my glutes, ankles crossed over, and just lowering up and down, crossing the ball, bringing it out in front. And then I just have a little stretch, rock side to side, just to ease it off. And then I'm going to go into a plank, everyone's favourite. So elbows under shoulders, forearms on the floor, and then I lift up and pull in. And then I go into a nice strong plank, which isn't looking too bad. Now, if you need to, option is to drop down to the knees and rest there. Don't we just love the plank? Okay, from there I'm going to lift up again. So elbows under shoulders, pulling in nice and tight, abs in, and then lifting up, pressing out through the heels. Good straight legs. I could probably do with dropping my bum slightly, or whether that's the angle, I don't know. Anyway, I think I do one more. So pushing down, abs in, knees or toes. And I promise I am trying to count for 10 seconds, but it probably is quite a fast 10 seconds. Okay, from there I'm going to do the legs on the other side. Let's see if my neck is in a better position on this side. So bottom arm under the head, bottom leg on the ball, resting on the ankle, making sure that bottom leg is straight. Get my hair out of the way. And then I'm just lifting straight up and down. So point the toe, push into the heel and lower the leg down. No, I do like to sit with my head. I'll have to watch that in class. I guess I'm so busy going around teaching everyone else, I don't really look at my own if I'm doing a little demonstration, which is bad. So this is excellent practice as a teacher. So shoulders stacked, hips stacked, drawing the abdominal muscles in, pulling in, and then I'm going to hold it up and just doing small circles here. So again, I always cue to go back ever so slightly more than it's coming in front. So really getting into the glutes and hamstrings around the back of the leg and trying not to come too far forwards where the hip flexors start to kick in, because we sit down far too much and we're always quite tight in our hip flexors. And I'm slowly rolling around the other way. So bottom leg is straight, trying to stay still as I can through the rest of the body. Easy circling round. And little pulses there. And lower. Good. From there then I'm going to go knee in front. Extend the leg out, scrape the leg back. So I go knee, kick and press. I always find that people find it quite difficult to get full extension, so they may drop the leg down as they go into extension, excuse me. But I always think it's better that they do go into full extension. So bringing it in front, bend the knee, and then I'm pushing the leg back. So it comes in front, bend, and press. Now sometimes you can get a bit wobbly, especially with your ball, the ball under the ankle. So really try and contain it, press through the legs. One more. And then from there, I'm going to place the ball in between the ankles. She says. Oop. No, nearly. This time I get it. There we go. Hand down in front, hip stack, shoulder stack, drawing the belly button in and then just doing a little lift up and down. And then if people want to feel where they should be working, I always say, grab just above the hip and you can feel your QL kicking in. Or you could take your arm up as well. So more advanced option, arm up. Good. So also on that one, just make sure the legs are staying super straight. And then I'm going to sit cross-legged or legs out straight if you prefer. I'm just going to go into a little rotation here. So sitting up nice and tall. You may need to put blocks under people if they've got tight hamstrings, they can't sit upright. But it's cross-legged, legs straight, or I have got one lady who sits on her bum and then tucks her legs behind in a weird angle. It always looks really uncomfortable, but she's always done it that way. So I think as long as the spine is straight and you're comfortable, that's the main thing. So now I'm just going for a little spine stretch forward. So legs go wide, ball down in front and use the ball to guide. So tucking the chin in, leading from the crown of the head, drawing the abdominal muscles in and gently rolling down, lengthening out through the spine and then pulling in to bring it back up to center. And again. Okay, from here I'm going to do an adaptation of the saw. So the ball is on the outside of my right leg. I'm going to rotate, sitting up nice and tall, rotate, hand on ball, and then I'm flexing forward and reaching my back hand palm up behind me, sitting up nice and tall, back to center, rotate. So rotate to the right. My left hand goes on the ball. I roll forwards, look down towards the knee, curl the spine, lift up tall, stack, back to center. So watch in this one as well that people's bums tend to lift up. So you've got to try and cue to keep your bum down. And if people are really tight in their hamstrings, they can struggle with this one. So reaching forwards, backhand turns up, stack the spine, lift and press it out. That's not looking too bad. Gosh, how many do I do? I think this could be the last one. I think I was on a roll. I was also trying to count at the same time. Okay, so now I'm going to the other side. So I'm going to press my right hand onto the ball, reaching forwards, then back up to centre. Backhand up. That's my little flurry, my little jazz hand there. And then sitting up tall and back to centre. Now, as an instructor, you'll know that some people have a weakness or a more dominant side, for example, and you will see this when you do this exercise. So the bum always tries to lift up. And I don't think I'm doing it, but it does look like I'm doing it. I think it's just because I'm wearing the black trousers and sitting on a black mat. But I'm trying to keep those sit bones on the floor. Scooping out through the spine and rolling back up. I'm not a narcissist either. I keep looking at the camera to make sure that everything's in and that my posture's quite good. Okay, that was the last one. So from here, I'm going to go into rolling like a ball. So the ball can either go around the back of the legs or by the chest, thigh area. So I'm going to start off around the back of the legs, scooping out, looking forwards, and then rolling down and rolling up and trying to balance and not put the feet on the floor. So as an instructor, you'll know that some people love this exercise, some people hate it. If you're quite lordotic and there's a big curve in your lower back, it can sometimes be a bit clunky as you go. So I would just do a half roll back instead, or try and get them to do more of a full roll up. So looking forwards, tucking the bum under, drawing the abs in and rolling. Try not to use the legs too much as momentum. Whoop, and that was me finishing, yes. Okay, from here I'm placing the ball underneath the bum again into that sacrum area. So it should sit at the base of the spine, be elevated and not arched over. Now legs going up, I just do a nice big stretch here around the back of the legs. So legs up straight, point the toes down towards you, and you can feel a really good stretch around the back of the knees. And I'm just checking my notes while I'm stretching. There's only so much I can remember. I just wanted to make sure I had everything into the video. Okay, so now I'm just going to go for a little stretch again. So I'm crossing the leg over, it rests on the shin or the thigh, and then just drawing the leg in, and that's a really good stretch around the glutes, outer thigh area on that bent leg. And then I'm changing sides, so crossing over and drawing the straight leg in. And you can let gravity do the work, or you can pull in using your hands. And again, you really notice one side better than the other on that one. And then I'm just going out into a V shape. So you can either support or just let gravity do the work. Okay, so now I'm going to go into scissors. So legs are straight, and it's just like the same as you would do without the ball on the mat. I'm just lengthening one leg away from the other, and then you do find that your other leg comes in quite naturally. So keeping those legs straight and pressing away. But really, when I've got the ball underneath the bum, I am looking to stay as still as I can against any movement. So I'm thinking about pulling in, drawing in with the abdominals, tightening around like a corset, and pressing one leg away as the other one pulls in. Now if you want, you can add on a little pulse with the bottom leg and hold onto that top leg. So we're going pulse, pulse, lift and switch. And you have to do this one a lot slower than you would if you were on the floor with no ball. So you're trying again to stay as still as you can against the movement of the leg. And then also you could go even a higher level again. Tuck the chin in, flex up, use the hands to support the head. And then as you stay in flexion, do the little pulse kick scissors. Now again, it would depend whether you've got any issues with neck. I don't find this too uncomfortable. Just got to make sure that it's a flexion rather than a neck pull. Good. And then I'm releasing. Lifting up, having a bit of a stretch there down through the front of the legs, and then lowering down. Good. From there, I'm just going to do some abdominals to finish off. So I'm going to put the ball right up against my bum. And instead of curling over, I'm going to try and hinge back. Okay, so legs hip width apart, ball right up against the bum, and then cue to hinge back. It does kind of shift around a bit, but once it's in the good position, it tends to stay there. So just kind of pushing back against the ball and then lifting up. So if you want to work easier, you go up and down, make the movement quite big. But as you see here, I've really stopped it coming all the way up. So I'm pushing back and then I'm coming up a few inches. And again, if you work even harder, and that's a killer, put the hands on your forehead. So you're pressing back into the ball and then lifting up, and you can really feel your abdominals switching off and on, off and on, off and on, and it's an absolute killer, but my class do like it. Well, they have no choice. And you're pushing back and then lifting up. I've also done this when you push back and then when you come up, lift one leg and then push back and then change legs. Okay, so from here I've gone to turn away from you so you can see the back view. So the ball up against the bum again, the legs are bent. So my right arm is going to stay up and I'm going to twist and rotate and bring my left arm across. So pushing back into the ball, and a cue as well to draw the shoulder blade towards the spine. So you rotate and then lift back up. So on this one, you've got to watch that those knees don't fall out. Push back into the ball and then rotate and then lift up. And again. So nice strong rotation, drawing that right shoulder blade towards the spine. I think I do about 6 to 8. And then I'm going to hold it and just do little pulses. So just increasing that twist and pulse each time. 8 times. And then releasing up. Any shoulder issues, I always say to drop the arms down. So now I'm going to do it front facing so you can see. So legs hip width. And then I'm going to take my right arm across underneath the left. So legs trying to stay still as you can. Pushing back into the ball and then pulling in and rotating. So getting those obliques to fire. And that's me just saying, watch the knees, I think. Feet flat to the floor as well. And then the arms, like I say, can drop down if there's any shoulder issues. And I'm holding and pulsing. And that is it. Thank you for watching. I'm Karren Meggitt, Body Size Fitness. See you soon.